All right, today we are going to construct a template that we can use to create this rosette, which then can be used as a tile to create a design like this. But first, let's just worry about making the template. To make the template, we are looking at a 10-point construction. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we need to define a center point. So go ahead and give yourself a center. Now, when it comes to drawing your circle, you don't really want your circle super huge on this one, because that will create a larger rosette, which will be, so you'll get less iterations on your final design if you have a larger circle. And so you really do want a smaller circle. You don't want it super small, because then it gets very difficult to do the construction properly. So you want a reasonably, maybe a medium circle. Maybe a medium circle. Okay. All right. So we have a center point. Now we are going to not have a line that thick, because that's ridiculous. And then you're going to have a circle. And then we're going to create a diameter. And in honor of Noel, I'm going to zoom in 400%. That's just for you. You don't have to worry about falling off your chair if you're just standing. That's going to be like the best part of the whole video. Good, good. So we haven't gotten too far. We've just drawn a center, a circle, and a diameter. All right, no worries. Now, without letting your compass setting change, we are going to place the compass point at the intersection of the diameter, and we are going to create arcs so that we divide our circle into we're going to divide our circle into 6 equal arcs. So we're going to rotate it up. And we want these to be light, and we want them to be fairly short. The template that we're after at the end of today has a lot of lines, and so I'm going to do some things today that are going to reduce the amount of... Hold on a second. So we're going to do some things that are going to reduce the number of extraneous lines inside the drawing today. For those of you who are familiar with my previous videos, we're not going to make full circles or the owl's beak or anything like that. All right. So again, we are dividing this circle into 6 equal arcs. Now, after we divide the circle into 6 equal arcs, we've always been making a perpendicular bisector. And the perpendicular bisectors that we were making before, we were making by putting the metal point at the intersection of a diameter and the circle, and opening our compass past the center point. And that would always give us, don't do that yet, and that would give us intersecting arcs inside the circle. Well, I want to reduce the number of marks inside the circle. So instead of finding my perpendicular bisector by actually bisecting the diameter, I am going to find the perpendicular bisector that goes through, of the line that goes through these 2 points. Now, I'm not going to draw this line. That's an extra line. I don't want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the metal point at the intersection of the arc and the circle. I'm going to make sure I have the right point. All right. And then I'm going to open And I'm going to or adjust my compass setting so that it is past where I think the middle of this imaginary line segment would be. And incidentally, if I bisect the line that connects these 2 points, guess what else I will bisect? The diameter. Nice. So then, once I have my compass setting just a little bit past the midpoint, I'm going to make an arc on the outside of the circle. And I don't care how big that arc is because it's on the outside of the circle, and my drawing is going to be on the inside of the circle. And without letting my compass setting change, I will do the exact same thing on the other 3 intersections of the arc and the circle. So again, I'm double checking to make sure that I am in the right place, because a little mistake early turns into a big mistake later. And there's way too much going on here for us to want to do it again. I mean, doing work we've already done is fun and all, but I'd rather not do it if I can avoid it. It's not fun at all? Okay. Yes?
I can't see what you're doing, your camera's off.
Okay. Give me a second.
Hold up. We're gonna have to make sure our paper's open.
So making perpendicular bisectors, so I'm doing the exact same thing. Make sure you do not let that compass setting change.
How many should you have?
And so you will end up, hopefully, with 2 pairs of intersecting arcs. Zooming in again.
Oh my god, wait, when did you get here? Me too. Did I not see you? How did I not see you?
She's been there the whole time.
What? She's been there.
I thought you said, since when have you been here? She's been here the whole
So then I'll flip this compass here. You can hear people getting restless in the background. And so then I'll create my diameter by connecting the 2 points of intersection. And if I've done everything right, it goes right through the center. I think I'm in pretty good shape here.
I took one. They're like, here, take a lollipop. And I'm like, thanks.
I'm glad that everyone in the future is going to have the benefit of listening to Mariah's lollipop story. All right, so now we have a center, a circle, a diameter. We divided the circle into 6 equal arcs, and we have a perpendicular bisector. Now, normally we would connect this intersection all the way down to this intersection, but the thing is, I don't really want to have that extra line. That's going to be a problem later. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to only locate the midpoint of this half of the diameter. I don't want to draw the full vertical line because that is going to get confusing later. So I want to make sure my ruler, okay, is good. And so instead of doing the full line, I am only going to draw the intersection of my diameter.
So just a small line.
So a small little line here. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. About as good as I'm going to get. All right. So now we've divided our diameter into 4 equal pieces. So our next step in the last couple days has been to go ahead and draw 2 circles, But we don't want it. We don't want the extra circles because that's going to get a little complicated with all the lines that we're going to have. Oh yeah, we don't want to have to erase it all. So what we're going to do instead of drawing the full circle is I'm going to first make sure my compass is in the right place. That looks good. Oh, that's perfect. So, yep, 400%. So instead of doing the full circle, what I'm going to do is I know I'm going to draw a line from this point of intersection to this point of intersection. And what I really want to know is where does it intersect the circle that would be tangent to both the large circle and the perpendicular bisector. So I'm just going to draw this arc right here, knowing that when I connect these 2 points, that I will create a point of intersection. Because this is really the only thing I care about. Now, do I want to draw this whole line?
No.
No. All I really want is I just want where does this line intersect the arc?
Just like a sad.
So then I'm going to take my compass and I am going to measure.
I made my line a little long.
So I'm going to zoom in a bit.
Oh. What?
So I'm going to make sure the metal point is at the intersection of the diameter in the circle. And I'm going to measure to that point of intersection.
So you go from your perpendicular bisector from the bottom left corner to the. So you make one arc from here to here.
In the last couple drawings, from here, we would draw a complete arc that would go all the way around. And I like doing that because we had 2 circles on both sides and we could double check. But we don't want to do that today because we already have a lot of lines in what we're trying to get. So what we're going to do is we are just going to draw arcs that show the intersections of this distance and the circle. Sure. So I'm just going to swing my compass. Once I've measured the distance from this point of intersection to the diameter in the circle intersection, I'm going to swing my compass so that I am creating arcs that intersect the large circle on both sides of the intersection of the circle and the perpendicular bisector. Okay? So now we should have the distance necessary to divide our circle into 5 parts, which we will do now. So I'm going to measure the distance. So I'm measuring the distance from the gray arc and the yellow and the circle. And I'm going to measure to the intersection of the other gray arc and the circle. And then I'm going to use that measurement to swing my compass and locate the other 2 points of my pentagon. Marley, you doing okay?
Whoa. We have a problem here, Houston.
Now, it is critical to measure to make sure that your drawing is accurate. So I'm going to place the metal compass point at the intersection of the gray arc and the circle. And I'm going to rotate my compass. And if I've done everything right, my pencil should go right through that top point here. And I am really close. This one right up here.
Oh, I literally almost
That's a good sign.
Yeah, I'm so close to you.
I got to like look at how close I am.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. So before we move on to the next part, do not let your compass setting change. Very important. Do not let your compass setting change. I'm going to label these points. What?
You have a little cross point, and then on the other side, on the right side, then there's not one on the other side.
I don't understand. So I'm going to label this point 1. I'm going to label this point 3. So I'm labeling these as the odd points. This is going to be point 5, point 7, and point 9. So all the gray ones are odd. So now I need to turn my 5-point construction to a 10-point construction. To do that, I know that the two pentagons are going to be congruent. They're going to be the same size. So I'm going to take my compass that I used to create my gray arcs. I'm not going to let it change. And I'm going to place the metal point at the intersection on the bottom of my circle of the circle and the diameter. Because this intersection right here is going to be, it is definitely going to be 0.6. So I'm making sure that I am in the right place.
Do you do that at the top too?
Well, at the top we already have done that because we found the odd points. So now what we're going to do is we are going to use that distance and so this is going to be 0.4 and this is going to be 0.8. It's really difficult to draw circles on a mouse pad. So then, I still need to locate points 2 and 10. So I'm going to place the metal point at 0.4, zooming in for accuracy's sake, and to annoy certain students. Make sure the compass point is at the intersection exactly. And then I'm going to swing this over and create an arc that goes through the circle. Then I'm going to do the same thing from point 8. Zooming in for accuracy. Swing my compass over. Now, if I've done everything correctly, if I put, so I should label this point 2 and label this point 10. If I've done everything correctly, if I place the compass point at point 2, I should exactly make, I should have the exact distance to point 10 with my compass.
Yep.
Mine's like really, really close.
You know what, really close may be okay on this one. I mean, obviously you want it to be exact.
Mine's very, very close. Mine's doing 12 I think I need to redo it.
Wait, from here.
So that's doing all right. It's a little bit off, but you know what, I think we're gonna be okay.
Settings, like, without even touching it, so
We are gonna have to create 2 different pentagons. So I'm gonna have a gray pentagon that I connect with my odd numbers. So from 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7,
where's my pencil?
7 to 9, and 9 back to 1.
Wait, 3 to 5. Okay, 3 to 5.
For my second pentagon, I'm going to connect the even numbers. So we'll go from 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, and then 10 back to 2. So we have one pentagon facing up, one pentagon facing down. Excellent. Now clearly we need more construction lines. So instead of connecting points along the circle that are 2 intersections away, now I'm going to connect points that are 3 intersections away. So like I said, we are now going to connect points that are 3 away.
Wait, what do I do now?
So I'm going to connect
You're wrong.
1 with 4, 4 with 7, 7 to 10, 10 to 13. Sorry, 3, my bad, 3. 3 to 6. If 6 were 9. Classic Jimi Hendrix song for you there. Then 2 to 5.
Oh, I didn't do 2 to 5.
5 to 8. And then 8 back up to 1. 6 turned out to be 9. Notice how this intersection here and here both line up on my diameter, as does this point of intersection and this point of intersection. That is a good sign. That is a good sign. Now, I'm also going to need all of the diameters, so I'm going to include the diameter that goes from 10 to 5, from 2 to 7, from 8 to 3, and from 9 to 4. And notice how every time I do that, I am also connecting these the double pink intersections as well. So I created all 6 of my diameters. Sorry, all 5 of my diameters. So for our next step, if I look at the example over here, I notice that it appears as though I have rectangles that go straight through the center of my drawing. So the easiest way to think about this is as we have 5 different rectangles that are rotating around the drawing. So and notice that the lines of the rectangles are parallel to the diameters. So to do this, we're going to connect these pink and blue. It's also the one intersection over from the diameter. So you're going to connect this point straight down. Make sure that it is parallel with the diameter. And then do the same thing on the other side.
Oh my god.
So now we should have one rectangle. All right. So then you're going to do the same process all the way around the circle. And just make sure that you are always going parallel with the diameters, and you will be all right. Connecting points of intersection that are parallel to the diameter.
If I heard mine, it would be so bad. Dude, I would be like, oh my god. I'll be like, my intersections would be like, I'm not even gonna attempt to fix it because my construction line is
Really dark. No, well, let me see.
I have to do it because
Mine's, yeah, we're definitely doing this during lunch.
I'm definitely just gonna.
I did it.
So once you've connected, or once you've created all 5 of the rectangles, you're in good shape. You're ready to do the next step, which is create the rosette. And we'll do that on another video tomorrow.